Good day, everyone. We're excited to present Lesson 2 of our SES module titled Biodiversity Healthy Society. This lesson explores how the variety of life on Earth, called biodiversity, affects ecosystems, human health, and our survival. Each of us will explain a key part of lessons, so we hope you'll listen closely and learn something new. Let's begin by understanding what biodiversity really means.
What is biodiversity? Biodiversity refers to the wide variety of living organisms on Earth, where it includes everything from tiny bacteria, massive wheels, and even in the ecosystem they lived in. But it's not just about counting species, it's about how they interact and support each other. So did you know that biodiversity has three levels? First, we have the genetic diversity, the species diversity, and the ecosystem diversity. So first, we're going to talk about the genetic diversity. So what is genetic diversity? Genetic diversity refers to the differences within the species. For example, the different breeding of dogs. So from the dog itself, na siya mga nagaling na intricacy. And also the varieties of rice. So again, the genetic diversity refers to the differences within the species. So second, we have the species diversity. The species diversity means it is the variety of species in the given area, including the plants, the animals, the fungi, and microorganisms. And lastly, we have the ecosystem diversity. So, what is ecosystem diversity? Ecosystem diversity refers to the variety of ecosystem. So, like the forest ecosystem, the ocean, and wetlands. So, and overall, biodiversity is essential for us because it keeps the nature balanced, and it also provides us the resources that help us survive.
Biodiversity and ecosystems. Ecosystems are communities of living organisms interacting with non-living elements like water, air, and soil. Biodiversity plays a key role in keeping these ecosystems healthy and resilient. For example, in a rice field, if there are too many golden snails, they can damage the crops. But if the ecosystem is diverse with birds, insects, and other species, it can naturally control pests and recover from disasters. A diverse ecosystem is more stable, more productive, and better able to adapt to changes. That's why protecting biodiversity is so important. It helps maintain the balance of nature.
This time, we are going to talk about why biodiversity matters to humans. Biodiversity isn't just essential for nature, it's crucial for us too. It provides the basic things we need to live and thrive, such as food. The fruits, vegetables, meat, and fish we eat are come from diverse species. Next is medicine. Many of today's life-saving drugs are developed from plants and animals. Next is clean water and air. Natural ecosystem filter our water and produce the oxygen we breathe. And lastly, fuel and materials. We rely on resources like wood, fibers, and biofuels that come from nature. So without biodiversity, the natural system that sustains us begin to collapse. is the foundation of human survival, something we depend on every single day, whether we notice it or not.
The changes and biodiversity. Unfortunately, human activities are causing major changes in biodiversity. When we cut down forests, build cities, or pollute rivers, we disturb ecosystems. This leads to species extinctions, broken food chain, and the loss of natural services like pollinations and water purifications. For example, if we build houses in a forest, we destroy the homes of animals and plants. That affects the entire ecosystem and can lead to long-term damage. These changes don't just affect nature, they affect us too. By reducing the quality of our environment and increasing health risk.
Threats to biodiversity. According to the United Nations Environment Program, there are 5 major threats to biodiversity. 1. Habitat loss and destruction caused by human settlement and land use. 2. Alterations in ecosystem composition where sudden changes disrupt the balance of nature. 3. Overexploitation like overfishing, hunting, and resource extraction. 4. Pollution and contamination which damage sensitive species and habitats. 5. Global climate change which threatens species that can't adapt quickly enough. These threats are mostly caused by human activity and they are happening all over the world. If we don't address them, we risk losing the biodiversity that keeps our planet alive.
Consequences of biodiversity loss. So what happens when biodiversity is lost? The consequences are serious. First, ecosystems become less productive. Second, nutrient cycles break down. Third, water and climate regulations suffer. Some effects are easy to see, like fewer fish in the ocean. Others are hidden, like changes in soil, health, or disease resistance. Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace taught us that species evolved to fit their ecosystems. If ecosystems collapse, species including humans are at risk. Biodiversity loss doesn't just affect nature. It affects our health, our food supply, and our future.
Biodiversity also affects our nutrition. Different species and crop varieties offer different nutrients. If you only grow one type of rice or eat the same vegetables every day, you might miss out on essential vitamins and minerals. Farming practices like monoculture and pesticides used to reduce biodiversity and affect food quality. A healthy diet depends on a healthy ecosystem. That's why preserving biodiversity is important not just for nature but for our own health and well-being.
Health, biology, and biodiversity. Our environment provides the basic need for life: air, water, food, and shelter. Advances in agriculture and sanitation have improved health more than medicine. But environmental hazards also cause diseases. Pollution can lead to cancer and asthma. Poor sanitation can cause diarrhea and cholera and other infections. In 2015, 350,000 children under 5 died from water-related disease. Over 1.8 billion people use water contaminated with feces. These numbers show how closely our health is connected to the environment. Protecting biodiversity means protecting ourselves.
Biodiversity and disease prevention. So, biodiversity helps ecosystem healthy, which can prevent the spread of diseases. For example, wetland can clean the water, forests help control the climate, and having many different species reduces harmful pathogens. When ecosystems are destroyed, disease risks rise, like when mosquito increase in polluted areas or deforestation expose humans to new viruses. So, protecting biodiversity isn't only about saving animals, but also keeping people safe and healthy.
Biodiversity extension for human survival, environmental stability, and economic development. Every species plays a role. Losing event one can affect the whole system. We must act through the conservation, education, and sustainable development. As scientist David Tillman said, the Earth will retain is the biodiversity is only have the first science to do so. Let's be wise enough to protect what depends on.
Biodiversity of the variety of life on Earth. It supports ecosystem and human health. Human activities are threatening it. Loss of biodiversity affects food, water, and disease. Protecting biodiversity protects our future. We hope this presentation help you understand why biodiversity matters and what we can do to protect it.
Each of us can make a difference, whether it's reducing waste, planting trees, or supporting conservation effect. Small actions matter. We can also educate others, supporting sustainable farming, and be mindful of how our choices affect the environment. Let's be stewards of nature, not just using it. The future of biodiversity and our own health depends on what we do today.
That includes our report on biodiversity and the healthy society. Thank you for listening, and we hope you see how deeply our lives are connected to the natural world. Let's all do our part to protect biodiversity and build a healthier society for everyone. Thank you.